The Historic Charleston Foundation is hosting its biggest fundraiser right now in downtown Charleston. Here to share more on this year's Festival of Houses and Gardens is Roualeyn de Haas, Director of Marketing at Historic Charleston Foundation. Welcome back.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure to be here.
Always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
And here we are. We're back.
Finally
officially
back.
Since 2019. So tell us a little bit more about why this year is so special.
So really special year because people are ready to be out and again. They're ready to go and explore, and 2020 was an awful year for so many people. So we're delighted to be back this year in person, slightly smaller footprint this time around, but we are delighted to be back in person.
Yeah, I think come 2023, things will be even bigger and better. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with a smaller footprint, because, you know, for the walkers who go from house to house, I mean, it's good, you know, to start off easy before we get into a lot more walking and more houses. But how many houses would you say are on this particular tour?
We actually have 64 houses on our schedule for this year. That includes our Splendor tours and our street tours as well. And it really gives us an opportunity to evaluate what the demand is and what the impact. Being Historic Charleston Foundation, we're always really considering not only what the the benefit is that we can offer our guests, but also the impact on the city and homeowners. So trying to measure that very consciously, and really gives us an opportunity to think forward, you know, what exactly the future festival looks like. And it's proving really successful this year.
That's wonderful. And what do you hope that people who come to these homes take from the experience? I mean, obviously, it's just stepping into history, well-preserved history. A lot of these homeowners have spent a lot of money.
Absolutely.
On keeping it historically the same.
And that's I'm so glad you asked that question, because it is important for us that this is firstly an educational experience. And secondly, it's the largest fundraiser that Historic Charleston Foundation holds during the year. But what we're really hoping to impart with our guests is that preservation is relevant, it is something to be taken seriously, and also that can be creatively engaged. So our homeowners, as you say, they are spending a lot of time and effort and money and design sense in maintaining their homes and creating these beautiful havens. And we're just delighted and honored to be able to offer that insight to our guests. And
you know, there's so many craftsmen as well around the Lowcountry who are helping to replicate things, because you have to keep it significantly historic, according to the home. But if something is falling apart, if, you know, through weather and age and all those things, there are people out there in this world just up the street from us who are recreating these masterpieces of corbels and columns and
absolutely. And we are so fortunate in Charleston to have these master craftsmen who are part of a generation's worth of heritage, who can recreate tastefully and with great sense of style, but mostly preservation accuracy. Because a number of these buildings do date back. You know, we have 75 buildings on the peninsula that predate the Revolutionary War. Wow. 75 buildings. So it's important for us to maintain that that preservation heritage and maintain the style as well.
Oh, absolutely. The reason why there are 75 is because of people who are willing to become those stewards, so that for generations to come they can see what life was like.
Now let's put this into perspective. Those 75 homes survived the Revolutionary War. They survived the Civil War. They survived the Great Fire as well
earthquake
and the earthquake of 1886. So significant duress that they have survived.
Indeed.
And how important for us to have the ability to be able to maintain them for future generations.
Such a treat for people to also just glean from it, design ideas for their own homes and takeaways for themselves, and just a wonderful way of spending the afternoon. And it's going to be running through the 9th.
Yes, correct. So we are a full weekend. We still have some tickets available. We are delighted to say that many of our street tours and our events are indeed sold out. However, we do have the Anson Street tour, the East Bay Street and King Street tour are still coming up. There are still some tickets available, so I would recommend recommend people hurry for those. But more importantly, our Gullah spiritual events with the plantation singers, wonderful event. There are still some tickets available for those, and our virtual lectures as well.
Roualeyn, such a pleasure to have you back. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, as always.
We're back after this.